Hello guys, in this tutorial we're going to create our very first boilerplate based on Next.js. And the reason for that is every time we start off a new project, we don't want to keep repeating ourselves and copying pasting things. So that's the sole purpose of this tutorial. I hope you find it useful. So let's get started. The very first thing we want to do, head over to nextjs.org, docs, and /get hyphen started. And we want to grab this piece of CLI snippet in your command prompt. So head over to your the folder. Sorry, that folder, and we don't need this. Go to the folder that you want to install this. So I'm on asyntax.org. That's my repository, and sorry, that's my organization, and I'm heading over to new terminal and just paste that statement. It's going to ask for your project name, so I'm going to call it Next.js boilerplate. I hope I have spelled it correctly. Yes, Next.js boilerplate. Hit enter. Excuse me. And wait for it to finish installing all the dependency files for you. Okay, so this seems done. Okay, so we are already in that organization directory in our local PC. So head over to we're going to change directory cd. Head over to Next.js. Oops, boilerplate. And open the root directory of that folder with VS Code. So dot means root, and open it up. And just wait for the VS Code to load everything for us. Okay, so it seems it's all done. Let's see things. Okay, yes. So the one of the things I hate about Next.js is actually the only thing I absolutely love Next.js. It's just one of the things that okay, go away. One of the things actually the only thing I hate about Next.js is this folder structure. I like everything else. It's just this pages, and pages to me doesn't make sense because you may have a exact copy of another page, but what you actually want is you want your you want to make that shareable so you can use it for number of pages if you want, if you see what I mean. So yes, what we want to do, I have already prepared the boilerplate. I'm just gonna go through every one of the files, and I just talked through it briefly. So I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna head over to this directory, open it up with code. Later, we don't need that. And this is the kind of, so we have number of things that we don't want for this boilerplate. The only thing that we want is one of the very first thing is VS Code. So VS Code, this copy this directory, and we go and create a new folder. We call it VS Code. That's gonna hold all the settings for this for this project. We're going to need a file, call it settings.json, and we make sure it's tags, otherwise it's going to mess up paste, and he actually messed up using tabs and fours and convert. I actually wouldn't do it. I don't know why. Um, and yeah, so that should do it. So we in these settings we are saying use 4 tabs, fix all ESLints on save. Um, what else? ESLint to only validate these files. We don't want CSS. Sometimes that gets clunky and it slows the computer down. We don't want to do that for now. We may add it later on. And this EOL thing is the line character. So you see at the very end, we got this LF and CRLF. Usually with the Linux servers, and sometimes when you deploy your code, it expects it to be LF, and because you in the local environment we got it as CRLF, it fails the deployment. So that's why I've added that in the settings. Um, you may or you may not run into this problem, but I've added that anyway, and it wouldn't make any difference anyways in your local development environment. So better to have it than not. This breadcrumbs, I think it's the yeah that's the thing that's gonna so it's gonna take up some sort of space. So these two, uh, sorry, this one is the mini map. So this you see this on the right. You got this little scroll body. I don't even know how to say it. Scroll bar window that you just basically drag it. It does the same thing as this, as like native, and this just disables that so that you have more room in your editor. And this breadcrumb is the bit that's in the top, so it tells you where and how deep you are in your folder structure. We don't need that. We can see it here. And if you think otherwise, just change it here. And auto fetch again, it's gonna fetch everything for us. I think on uh, every now and then. Maybe I don't know how that works, but basically it just checks quite regularly, and yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. You also format on save. Sometimes we don't want to format our code on save. I've disabled it for here, but I'm not sure why. So excuse me for that. I've been coughing quite a lot today. I've had COVID as of 2 weeks ago, and I'm still recovering. So sorry about that. I hope I cough uh, much less in the coming videos. Anyway, so we got that set up, and the next thing we want to do is go head over to this next.config.js, and basically yeah, so what we want to do is head over to this next config. Where is it? Yeah, and I've gone crazy and I've done it. So just gonna use a module export um, and just give it an object, assign an object to it rather than storing that object in a variable and then assigning that variable to the module exports. I think that's silly when you got only one object. Well, it's one of those things that is Next.js is trying to be not trying to be opinionated, but is trying to do things in a different way. Anyways, so we already got two options. These two, we're gonna copy. We already have that. So SRC, SWC minifier that uses. I think if we set that true, actually it wouldn't use Babel under the hood to compile our code for us. So let's get rid of this and let's get rid of this. and we only have this about. We come back to that later on, but for now, let's just keep the trailing slash for now. It was a settings here, trailing slash. So basically, what it does is if we go to our Chrome and if we go to let's say nextjs.org and trailing slash, what it does is basically let's say for instance this page, getting started becomes wooden slash at the end. So that's what it does. I prefer to keep this forward slash at the end of the page paths because it makes it uh, easier like to the eye. You know where that may be silly, I don't know, but I always kept it, and it's my personal preference and nothing against it if you don't want to use it. So um, right, so we want to head over to our file, make sure that's saved up. One of the other thing I like to keep is the sorting object properties in uh, keeping them sorted so that it's easier. If you're looking for an R or S or T, everything is grouped up together really well. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is create this TS config, gigantic TS config. So head over to your you again. You don't have to do these. I'll leave it this link in the description, so you can just clone this project. And everything I build from now, it will be based off this boilerplate. So if you want to follow along, you can just clone it and give it a different name every time you follow a tutorial, and or just build upon the very first one you start building and take it from there. Um, okay, so tsconfig.json. Hope I spelled it right. Tsconfig. I'm not sure. Tsconfig. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there is nothing in the file. Sometimes I get confused by these. Um, okay, so the so one of the most uh, important aspects of this file is this section, this path section, and we pretty much don't care about rest of the stuff. Is just very ordinary. You could find it online. But one of the only things that I personally struggled when I was doing absolute paths, especially with Next.js, was this section. Well, actually, with React generally, and I used to do actually I tend to use Svelte for my personal projects. Not quite often, but I it's my go-to when it comes to a new project, and I start only recently started using React more often. Um, so one of the problems I had was this absolute path, and the only reason behind this is so when you want to import a file, let's say you want to import a button, so let's say button from components, sorry, frame from, it becomes like this components rather than if we clone this shift control arrow key, the down arrow key, sorry. So rather than having to do it like, so imagine you're in there is no source directory, but imagine you're in you're in another nested folder and maybe two levels deep, and you have to do like things like this and God knows how many other deeply nested double dots and you need to have. So this overcomes this problem basically. And I know some of you may be not into this, but this is actually a good approach because if you were to move this file maybe from one maybe one high level folder to another high level, you this would take care of it, and because you don't have to deal with all of these hard-coded paths, all you do is you just basically go to your tsconfig file and you update the very high level folder path here, and that's it. You don't need to worry about it. The uh, TypeScript will handle that part for you. Um, um, yeah, so that's pretty much it, really. Oh, actually, the reason we have two variants of the same absolute path is one of them it has this star, sorry, this trailing slash star. And the reason is one of them targets any any folder or any subfolder or any files on the disk directory, and one of them is same as the example we did. So it only targets anything, any file that's directly like any index JS or index TS or TSX or JSX files under this directly. So if you wanted to, so this, what this would solve is if you were to import something from, let's say, import um, some um, some other button from components forward slash maybe another component, maybe some other button, and yeah, so this would solve actually some other parent maybe, because some other button itself is a component, we can't import it yet, because that I generally tend to stick with default exports, and yeah. So yeah, so some other parent is under this components directory, and that holds of this component. So basically, yeah. So basically, some other button is under this directory. That's what this is trying to do. You could also import it like this and remove the brackets, because that's a default import and it will import it directly from it. But this is easier because um, when it does all the like tree shaking and stuff, it takes care of this anyway. You don't need to be very specific. So yeah, that solves that problem. And what else? Another problem. Actually, this was solving. I can't remember actually. Um, oh yeah, it was allowing for JavaScript and React to be preserved like JSX. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, nothing else going on apart from this exclude and include. You already know what this does. Is basically this basically TypeScript disregards all of these directories. So you know that yeah, and includes these directories. So basically, it could. So when it comes to these paths, it could look into this directory. And if we have another directory that we don't want TypeScript to look into, we just have it under the exclude, and that will take care of it. Um, what else do we want to do? So that was the environment variables. Actually, no, that was irrelevant. Actually, ESLint, right? So ESLint. Um, so ESLint, we don't have any ESLint config. It's just that. That's pretty much it. So with ESLint, what we want to do is, again, you don't have to do what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to show you what's happening. I've got all of these settings, which extends, you know, the Airbnb, the ESLint recommended, and I've spent quite a lot of time into this and this file on its own took me hours to configure and make it rock solid, because otherwise it wouldn't trigger any error with your with linting your JS or TS files properly. So again, we're just gonna copy, or actually better to just copy this file actually. So we're gonna delete and paste. That's easier. Okay, so that's sorted. Um, another so git attributes is the yeah, so it's the basically let's copy this for now. We're gonna copy. So basically, what this does is it tells VS Code and sorry, it tells the Git uh, itself to treat all of these files in to have this end character as LF. So you see this CRLF and LF here. So it's the it's you can read up on that, but basically LF is used in on the with Linux, like servers and stuff. And when you are deploying your app, sometimes the build fails because it expects it to be in LF rather than CRLF. CRLF is Windows, and it's I'm not really a big fan of it. I tend to stick with LF because that keeps everything consistent with the server itself and all the like deployments, and it's just easier to tackle and debug stuff this way. So that's what it does. It tells Git to stick with this setting. So when you push a code, it wouldn't convert it to CRF or anything. It would just keep it as is. And we already have I've already mentioned it here. Yeah, I think I may have not. So yeah, files EOL, sorry. That's the uh, new line. So new line, end of each file, and here where was it? I actually can't remember where it was. Tut, 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 tut. Uh, yeah, it actually tells us what it does. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Um, and this basically hides the breadcrumb, and this minimap is the little window scroll bar thing that you drag, but does the same thing as this. I'm sure I've covered this. Uh, yeah, okay. I'm a little confused. I don't know what I covered and did not. So the next task is ESLint. Did we do ESLint? Yes. Um, Git attributes. ESLint ignore. Oh, that's another one. So ESLint ignore. It ignores these directories basically. It wouldn't lint any file in these directories, and sometimes it's fine without this file, but oftentimes I find it struggling to figure out. And this is actually faster because ESLint looks into this folder and file and basically ignores these, whereas it doesn't have to like figure out where to look and where to not. And yeah, it's just easier. Anyways, the next file we're gonna do is this npmrc is just a different matter. Don't worry about that. Um, Jest, we're not being worried about that either. We already have that file, I believe. That's a TypeScript, basically. So actually, let's copy this. That's TypeScript. We keep it for now. That's bugging about. Um, this package not being available because ESLint is sorry, excuse me. Yes, in the ESLint we have told Airbnb, but we haven't actually got in the package.json file. We haven't actually touched any of the dependency files there. So yeah, so let's we already got that. I don't know what else is needed. README file. Actually, do we need this? I don't think so, but we'll keep it for now. I may update this. I've never done README file for Next.js for this like boilerplate stuff, but I may add it in my own time, and you can have a look later. Um, what else? So Git, we did that. We got the Git sorted. npmrc. That's like protected libraries where we have to authenticate to. So that's for that. We don't need that. The only thing we need to do is the package.json, and yeah, and things we're gonna be using. So I've got this. Yeah, okay. So let's copy these dependencies and dev dependencies. Actually, let's copy these scripts as well. So I'm just gonna go to package.json, dependency and scripts, and let's actually sort out this tabbing issue. Use tabs, 4 tabs. I know some of you may think I'm crazy, but I'm very obsessed with these tabs and spaces. I find it quite difficult for myself when it comes to maintaining the project, and I don't want to touch these ever again. So combat tabs. Didn't do it actually. I don't know why. We don't need these. Uh, and we just paste everything. And I've got this lovely extension in my VS Code that tells you which one of these packages are outdated. So marked. This is markdown based files. We're just gonna switch to latest. I absolutely appreciate this little plugin. It is extremely helpful. So thank you, whoever did this plugin for VS Code. Again, next, latest. All you have to do is just click these. I'm sure there was an option for just one click and updating all of those. So again, update, latest. You may need for all of these. You may need all of these like packages. Just keep it. You do need actually these ESLints because we have already referenced it in the in our ESLint config file. I'm gonna just do this. We could also have jest. Actually, let's keep it for now. But if you not for you, if you're cloning this, if you're cloning this repository, make sure you remove all the jest-based ones. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We also have like the .env that tree that you know takes care of the env file, like environment files. So like .env, we can stick one for now. Uh, yeah, that one basically, and just include that in your git ignore. So where was it? Git ignore here. .env. I'm sure. Yeah. So it's got env.local, but not env itself. So we're going to add one env. And that should do. So all your secrets and everything like confidential, you can stick it there, and it wouldn't be pushed up to the repository. If your repository is private, actually, it doesn't really matter, and you know who's accessing it. If it's just yourself and your personal project, I wouldn't really bother. But if it's something really critical and important to you and your team or whoever that may be, yeah, make sure you stick it right here and that env. Do not actually push it to the Git, to the source control. Now, what we're going to do is open up this terminal and run npmi and see if everything runs fine. Oops, okay. So React hooks 801. What is this? What is this trying to do? So testing library React hooks from root projects. So I'm not sure. Let's go to this file. 702. Okay, I remember. Maybe this was one of the ones um, I had problem with. So we're gonna React testing library. Testing? Oh, actually testing library only. Okay, so testing library, we want, which one was it? The testing library, we want everything to be the older version. So all the testing libraries basically. So testing library. Okay, we're just gonna stick to the older version. Actually, clear npmi again. Hopefully that fixes it. Uh, Sometimes I run into these issues, and I like to have these included in my videos. I don't want my tutorials to be very polished and not for you not to see any errors, because that uh, you know, in reality, when you do this on your own, you wanna run into the same errors problems that I run into, so you can kind of see what I'm trying to do and how I'll solve it. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so the very first thing we want to do is go to this fav icon thing. Oh, I hate this. Okay, so what you could do is just delete this and delete this Vercel logo. We don't need that in the public directory and pages. In the public directory, I'm gonna copy a font. Um, so in the public fonts, so I'm gonna copy that in the static. So that static becomes your like your domain / static, because the public wouldn't be included in the path. So it's better to keep everything nice and tidy in the static directory. We're going to paste that fonts directory, and in the fonts I've got the Poppins and Source Sans Pro. Pick whichever suits you, but I'm a big fan of Poppins. It was added to Google Fonts quite recently. The reason I'm using local font is just it's quicker for development purposes. But when it comes to production, actually might not be a bad idea to stick the fonts CSS file link in the where was it, in the index HTML, in this, I think it was documentation file, sorry, document file. But we get to that. I mean, we're not using it right now. We just want to have it in our project. API. This is just normal. We're gonna get rid of. We won't do any APIs. Just delete it. And yeah, this file is quite messy. Not messy, that footballer, but yeah, this is messy. Um, Yeah, ESLint is already bugging us about semicolon and stuff. You can see like everything has been linted, and ESLint is shouting at us and to fix it. The very first thing we want to do is actually get rid of this file, app.js. Actually, I don't know why Next.js, you know, promotes this not having semicolons. I hate it actually. It's better to have semicolons. Why is it? Actually, this might not be necessary. Unnecessary functions don't have semicolons. What am I doing? I don't know. Yeah, this on save ESLint, it linted it. Uh, it actually fixed fixed it, whatever for us, and yeah. So that's fine. Now we want to create we want to create a page. Call it index.tsx. I'm not sure. Yes, TSX, because we want to have some um, JSX inside that. I believe with new Next.js you don't need to import React, but you do need to import React lifecycle methods like the hooks and stuff. Everything but React itself, because it will include that on its own. What else? Actually, so for this file, I've got a very simple page. Where was it? Pages index.tsx. So I'm just going to copy this. You can already see that we are importing some stuff from app constants and view. I'm going to get rid of those because we don't have them right now. Here that's the page title. So the page title and the like meta description and all of that it goes in the page. So this section takes care of basically so this title on the page, and if you look at the source, like the meta, like I don't know, meta, yeah. So the meta, that part of it. So it adds all of these like meta content, and we get to these in a future videos. But for now, we wanna have everything as simple as possible, so everyone can follow along with me. Let's stick a title. We call it asyntax tutorial. Actually, boilerplate. I don't know why I use asyntax. Um, let's call it next.js boilerplate. um, we call it. This is a boilerplate on top of Next.js framework. That should be fine for now. Views, again, we don't have that in place, so we're gonna stick a div, and we are going to just have something next.js um, boilerplate, and that should be it. Actually, this should do the job for us. We can put this on into test by running. I forgot the script. So dev. Okay. So we want to let's do another npm. I'm not sure if everything was installed properly. Yeah, everything's up and running. So npm run dev or development. Okay. Invalid next config. I'm not sure what's that about. Probably standard enabled. Invalid next config option detected. Let's see. So actually, let's go to the localhost 3000. Yeah, so that's working. I'm not sure what's that's all about. Let's go to next config and let's see what's happening. That's moaning about the new line, the very end line. Not sure what's happening here. SWC, what was it about? Invalid next config option detected. So it's an array of object instant path. Must not have additional properties. I'm not sure what's happening here. Let's just copy this. Typical developer. Actually, let's stick a Next.js in front of it. Valid option with Next.js. Probably someone figured it out. So you're using CSS loader that added an options validation. So what's this doing really? I'm not sure if it's actually the not sure if it's actually this part. So let's kill it. Yeah, so it is that one. I need to dig into that and figure out why. Actually, in the other where was it? The other. So I've got. So I do have that here. I'm not sure why it's complaining about. I'm not quite sure, actually, to be honest. I need to dig into this. Just close it, close everything. Just close everything. In the app TSX. Yeah, okay, so actually this is we're using the fonts in this index CSS file. So let's create our source directory src, and here we create our styles. We create another folder called components. In the styles, we want to stick this styles. Where is it? Source styles. Yeah, so we get to all of these mixings and stuff. But for now, we want to just copy paste this very simple. Not very simple, but you get the idea. So new file index.scss SAS file. And we want to get rid of these because we're not really using any of those. We want to keep the line height because these drive from the variables and we don't have the variable file yet. yeah, okay, so that's fine. Yeah, and this is the bit that imports the fonts basically. And I'm telling it to so base font family. Uh, yeah, yeah. So basically, sure I'm doing this. Okay, yeah, yeah. So this is a variable basically that drives from this variables file. So we definitely need that file. So paste variables. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. um, so this is the pixel density. Uh, so if we set it to zero point 0.8 RAM, so actually one of the very first things I want to talk about is this RAMs. We must get away as much as we could from pixels and use RAMs because we want the display to be we want our screens to display things proportionally rather than like statically, like if it makes sense. I'm not quite sure how to explain this, but this would basically, so if you're looking at a very large screen and you use RAMs, it would scale things up um, correctly. It's not like it would double things up or triple things up in size, but it would like scale them perfectly so that the user for that monitor, otherwise, yeah, so things gonna be displayed correctly for that user, if it makes sense. And yeah, so you can read up on this. This is I looked I looked this up on Google, like Google's material design. You can look it up as well. I've got some variables like container x, like x-axis, so that y-axis, x-axis, and I'm like doubling up basically. I'm just saying dp times 2, so that's 1.6 rams. That's equivalent to 16 pixels. So zero point 0.8 becomes 8, zero point 0.9 becomes 9, 1.0 RAM becomes 10 pixels, and so on and so forth, basically. So and there was in the file, there was an option, where was it? There was, it must be some like base font size somewhere. I'm not sure. Body font size. Yeah, so base font size 10 pixels. So we are telling the HTML, the document of our page to be based off 10 pixels. So everything works. So when we work out things in RAMs, it becomes exactly the same. It corresponds to the exact same number in pixels if you move the decimal point actually. So if 10 pixels become 1.0 RAM, like, and 1.6 RAM becomes 16 pixels, and 2 RAMs becomes 20 pixels, and so on and so forth. Basically, that's what's happening. Basically, I'm gonna get rid of some like because we got these mixings and stuff. I don't want to include those. I've got these breakpoints. I'm not using anything crazy like Bootstrap or one of those utility libraries. I'm a I'm a person that usually sticks with bare minimal for the entirety of project, because I believe once you start using these, you don't really have any idea what's happening behind the scene, and later on you run into some issues and you don't know what's happening basically. Again, I'm not recommending this, but it's something that I've been always into, and I've been using it for personal and commercial projects. Um, so we got some variables, and we got some. I'm gonna get rid of these highlights. I'm not sure what's happening here. Um, So background highlight gradients, we're gonna get to those. I um, better not have these included. Otherwise, it's gonna get things cluttered. Again, this variable I've commented out so that if you want to use this source sans pro font, you can just uncomment this and comment this out basically. But I'll keep it to Poppins because I like that font. Um, Body color. This is, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is irrelevant. We don't need that. Button, we have some variables for button. And we want to get rid of any component based variables. Actually, I'm not sure. And so functions, yeah, actually. Oh, one more thing though, the breakpoints don't work in rems. You must have them in pixels, otherwise it won't work. So something bear in mind. The breakpoints, extra extra large. We got this massive object. They call it maps in SAS. Uh, so we got variables and got body. I'm not sure what else grid extra padding. I'm not even sure to be. Let's get rid of them. I'm not too keen on keeping things that we don't necessarily need. Let's keep it simple. I think that will do for now. I'm not sure if functions needed. Mm, Actually, it is needed. Yeah. Okay. So let's keep things simple, and we have everything we need. Yeah. So let's keep that. What I'll do is I'll copy the other two files. I'll copy the functions only for now. Uh, I don't want to have everything included in this boilerplate unless you know what's going on. I want to go through each one of these functions one by one in the future videos, hopefully. And hopefully I'll get the time this weekend and yeah, I'll create another video. So basically what's happening is I've got a bunch of functions, which one of them takes care of the color palette, and that's that one basically. So it generates a bunch of color variants based off of color. So that if you were to give it, let's say red, it will produce a red, um, a very light shade of gray to a very high dark sort of color of that color. I don't know what I said. So basically, it will create a lightest to darkest, and it will have a bunch of other variants of it in between. So think of it as lightest, lighter, light, like the actual color itself, and then maybe dark, darker, darkest, something like that. But it takes care of it as in numbers in a Google design, material design fashion. So we get into this in my next video, maybe yeah, maybe next video. And yeah, let's just I'll get rid of these comments. I don't know why I kept them. I tend to not have commented codes floating around my code, but somehow this ended up here and without me realizing. Um, yeah, so if you come across any one of these functions that you think may need to be improved, feel free to raise a PR and yeah, I'm happy to take it from there. But this is what I've been like doing in my own time, and it's kind of a hobby to me, really. It's not a I don't treat it as a programming exercise. Excuse me. So let's run this again. Oops, T. No, let's do run. Now this time round, the font should be different. Or is it different? I'm not sure. Must be different. Actually, That's very interesting. This is still using, I'm not sure if that's included actually. So index uses pop-ins and pop-ins stored in public static fonts. You can see public static fonts, the font directory, and this style. Style is there. Yeah, it is there. Okay. Not sure why it's not being pulled by the pages. So index file is not referring to that in the app. Actually, uh, styles. Actually, this. Yeah, this is the file that actually needs it. So let's go to this. Go to the pages and app. Already like got it. So why not just copy paste? Uh, I don't have that file. Actually, that's app props. Next. Why is it complaining? Import type declaration can only be used in TypeScript. Oh, actually, because it is a TypeScript file. TSX, and that should, if you copy paste, there is no animations. And that should sort it out for us. Yes, you can see the font has been taken care of, and there is no error in the console. That's what my aim is. Have everything working, and yeah. So there is no page with the yeah. It wouldn't show the forward slash here for some reason for the home page. I don't believe it should, but for the rest of the pages, you should have this trailing slash. Excuse me, and yeah. So let's close all of this, and we don't need this anymore. And let's go to our app like Boilerplate and have everything checked once more. Again, I'm not pushing for TypeScript to be used. I've only used it because I've been using TypeScript for quite some time now, and I like it because it prevents some of the bugs that you come across time to time, type-based errors basically, and you have no idea what's happening. So in your, for instance, let's say in your JS file you have a variable that's its type is Boolean, but you're treating it as a string, and you wouldn't be able to tell, and that's the problem with that. So yeah, so let's have that. Um, let's put an end to this tutorial. I hope you liked it. I'm gonna push this code and leave it link in the description, and we I'll see you in the next videos. Hopefully, I'm able to do more of these videos for the people that got their hands into development roles, and they're it's their starting points still, and they're still learning. And my aim is to help them develop their front end skills, um, because it does really benefit when, especially when you're someone new, uh, and you need help. And Stack Overflow is not really the tool you want to use because everyone will be bashing your head, and they expect you to have had done your homeworks, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's just I've been on Slack Overflow many times, excuse me, and I've asked questions, and I've proved that I've did my homework, and I did a bit of research, and even despite all of that, they still bash you in the head, and they criticize you for not doing better homework, because they believe no one's here, no one over there is there to help you with the code, but to give you more of a solution. And maybe this is the impression I've got. Yeah, and I never went back to Stack Overflow. I do sometimes go to Stack Overflow for errors like the one that we encountered earlier. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of Stack Overflow because that also prevents you from learning what's happening under the hood. I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Leave a comment. I appreciate if you write me a comment and let me know how you found it, basically. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye bye.